Hello, everyone. On this podcast episode, I'm going to continue talking about science again and how you have to be careful with science. Like I said it before, I'm a person who actually believes that many scientists are actually pretty correct. I'm not someone who goes against science in any way, shape, or form. I actually believe the greatest worldview, the best way to see the world is through a scientific eye. You know, So science is, on the right path. I'm not going to say scientists are wrong or all scientists are liars. There are honest scientists out there who, do the best they can to find the truth out. But not, there are also scientists out there that do the equal and opposite. They're too money hungry, to care about the truth. They only care about making money. There are many scientists who only care about making money. They falsify discoveries just to make money. They falsify discoveries just to win awards. They falsify discoveries just to win grants, and different medals and awards without actually having to actually do the work for it. And this is even more true in the world of, psychology, in the world of the mind. You have to be even more careful with psychologists than you are with, biologists and other forms of science. Because the other forms of science can be physically seen. We can physically test these things. In the world of science, many things can be, all you need is a magnifying glass. All you need is in some sort of apparatus, and you can physically see every single part of it. But the world of the mind is different. We're going in blind. In the world of psychology, we are blind as a bat. The physical body that can be, physically seen using test tubes, using what do you call those things? Using microscopes, right? The human body can be seen using microscopes, and it can also be seen with the naked eye. So it's very easy for us to tell what's going on and what's not going on, right? Yet this human body we're still discovering organs within the human body. We still don't have a full understanding of the brain yet. There are people in this world, right, that have massive chunks of their brain missing, and they're still able to live a normal life. They still behave like a normal human being. And these are people who, massive chunks of their brain missing. And scientists tell you that the brain is a source of intelligence. Yet, people can have massive chunks of their brain missing and still be just as intelligent as they were before. So obviously, there's still a lot to be discovered in the human body as well. We're discovering new organs. We're discovering, I think it was like a few years ago, found out that, scientists realized that there are neurons in the heart. There are small neurons hidden in the heart. There are neurons hidden in our spine as well, in the spinal cords. So obviously, the brain isn't the only place where, neurons are located. Neurons could be located in other parts of the human body as well that we haven't discovered yet. The human body is still something we need to spend a lot of time figuring out. Once we can have a full understanding of the human body, we can solve many of our diseases and issues. It's because we don't have a full understanding of the human body yet. That's why we still have, all these diseases and plagues. That's why our bodies, we're still, figuring out how these illnesses work. Yet, this is the human body that can be easily seen. This is the human body that can be easily monitored. The mind is just as complex as the human body. Yet the mind we have no way to monitor the mind. So all psychologists are doing is guesswork. That's all they're doing. One moment they tell you, you're either an introvert or an extrovert. My entire life, the psychologist said you're either an introvert or an extrovert. Now they're coming up with new facts. Now they're saying, okay, no, there's something else. there's another personality in there, an orthovert or something. I'm just telling you, when it comes to psychology, you're going in blind as a bat. The world of psychology is a world of pseudoscience. Maybe there's more than introvert and extrovert. We don't know. The whole field is filled with pseudoscience because it's very hard. It's already very hard for the human body to be understood, much less something that can, you can't just take a microscope and look into the mind. You just can't. And the mind is just as complex as the human body. It may even be more complex than the human body itself. So we truly do not have a full understanding of the mind. The people that, these psychologists tell you are ill may not be ill. And the people that the psychologists tell you aren't ill may be the illest people in the world. They have no idea. We call people, many psychologists will call someone who kills people crazy, right? They've lost their minds. Yet soldiers kill people on a daily basis. We don't call them crazy. Politicians order the death of many, people on a daily basis all over the world. We don't call them crazy. People are only called crazy when it goes against, society's expectations. When you go against society's expectations, the psychologists will call you crazy. But if you're doing this exact same thing that crazy people do, but it's something that society wants you to do, you're no longer called crazy. The entire world of psychology is a world of pseudoscience. It's a world of lies. At one point in time in the past, I was told that, depression is a chemical imbalance in the brain. Now, scientists are showing that depression isn't a chemical imbalance in the brain. There is no chemical imbalance when it comes to depression. There's no, we don't know what truly happens in the brain when someone is depressed. We don't know what causes depression. Scientifically, we still don't know what causes depression. So all those people that have been getting medicine for having a chemical imbalance, have been getting fake placebo pills for years, for decades now, because that theory that depression is a chemical imbalance, all these mental illnesses are chemical imbalance in the brain, have been going on for years, for decades. Meaning decades, we've been wrong for decades. Come to find out, these mental illnesses are not chemical imbalances in the brain. It's been made up logic, made up facts. The world of psychology is a world of pseudoscience. We still need a lot more time to figure out how science works. We still need a lot more time to figure out how the mind works. We shouldn't be jumping to conclusions right now, especially when it comes to intelligence. This is why I say the whole IQ, system is flawed, because we don't even understand what intelligence really is. No one can tell you. We don't have a universal definition of intelligence. None. Yet we're creating these IQ tests. There's too much pseudoscience there in this world. When it comes to the mind, there's way too much pseudoscience. But because people can make a lot of money from pseudoscience will be seen as fact. We keep seeing pseudoscience, flawed logic as fact, because all these, healthcare industries can make money selling you pills that do not work. That's no different from placebo. So you keep taking these pills that supposedly help you cure your depression by making the chemical imbalance in your brain more balanced, when the truth is depression wasn't a chemical imbalance to begin with. It wasn't even a chemical imbalance to begin with. The world is filled with a lot of pseudoscience because you can make a lot of money creating false facts. The healthcare industry can make a lot of money creating false facts about the mind, about the brain, because when the brain can't be physically measured, when the mind can be physically measured and deciphered, everything goes. You can come up with any fact you want about the mind. As long as you have enough authority, people will start to believe it as facts. All these scholars like Sigmund Freud and all that, they can come up with any fact they want. As long as they have enough power, they could brainwash you and force you to think it's the truth. Because the mind can be physically measured. So the mind can be physically measured. Anything goes. You can be manipulated to believe in placebos all day. Start buying pills that only trick you into thinking it works when it doesn't do anything. And this is what you need to be careful of. This world is filled with lies. There are more lies in this world than the truth. Because more people are sinners than honest folks. More people go to hell than go to heaven. More people lie than tell the truth. It's easier to lie than it is to tell the truth. It's easier to be a manipulative person than it is to be an honest person. It's easier to make up a lie and make up a fake scientific theory about the mind than to actually spend decades studying the mind. It's just easier. It's easier to lie than it is to tell the truth. That's why this world is filled with so many lies. It's just easier. It's easier to go to heaven than it is to go to, it's easier to go to hell than it is to go to heaven. It's just easier. So you need to know that most people, the Bible tells you that most people are sinners. Most people are liars. If you're naive enough to believe that this world isn't a world filled with lies, that scientists can't lie to you, and you keep believing the lies that they keep telling you, that God doesn't exist, that X or Y is true, when they have no real proof of it, except their words, except the made-up studies that they just came up with. It's a well-documented fact that, businesses will come up with fake studies just to make money. They don't care about the facts. Science is being used by many people to trick you into what? Into giving them money. The world of science is a world where the truth and the lies come together. Same with religion. There are honest religious people, right? And then there are the cults who use religion, who twist religion in a way to make them money. They're honest doctors, and then there are doctors who steal from others. They're honest pastors in this world, and then there are so many of them who just steal from others. They become pastors not because they care about God, but just to make money. We see them out there. We see these pastors out there. We see these doctors out there. And we see these scientists out there as well. If you think this world isn't filled with liars, you're very naive. There are a lot of liars in this world, and they always get punished by God. Depression is a punishment from God. Sin gets you punished in this world. Depression is a light punishment, a very light punishment. The more you sin, the more your life gets worse. The more you become a demented, manipulative person, the more you become a thief, the more you become a liar, the more you try to manipulate others to make money, the more you try to scam others with fake lies to make money, the worse your life becomes. When God decides to punish you, no one can remove that punishment, not even doctors. Not even doctors. There's so many cases of people committing suicide whilst on antidepressants. That should tell you something. You cannot run away from your punishment. If you sin in this world, you can never run away from your punishment. It's just a fact. And this world is filled with sinners. That's why this world is filled with depressed people. Because you can never be happy while going towards the world of sin. You can never be happy while walking towards the gates of hell. The closer you get towards the gates of hell, the worse your life becomes. And no doctor will ever save you from that. The closer you get towards the gates of hell, the more tormenting your life becomes. The more illnesses and problems will plague you. The more depressing your life will be. The more misery you will experience in life. And there's nothing a doctor can do to change it. Nothing. You cannot go against the will of God in this world, because this world is governed by God. God is the world around us. God is everything. And God is the one that gets the final say of who gets healed from a pill and who doesn't. God is the one that gets that final say. Everyone can take the same pill that heals them. But if God doesn't want you to heal, you can take 1,000,000,000 amounts of that pill and you'll never heal. God gets the final say in this world. If you're a sinner, just know that it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before you get kicked out of this world. It's only a matter of time. This world is filled with sin. That's why this world is filled with depression and misery. But the sinners it doesn't cross the mind of a sinner that the reason why they're depressed, the reason why their lives are miserable is because of them. They keep sinning, they sin all the time without realizing that there are consequences to sin. You'll be warned countless times by the Bible that there are consequences to sin, but you never listen. It doesn't even cross your mind that you'll be punished for it. These pseudoscientists, these scientists that make up fake facts, they get punished for their sins. This is why they're always depressed. This is why their lives will always be miserable. There's no free pass to sin in this world. None. Whether you're a scientist or not, whether you're a pastor or not, whether you're a doctor or not. If you sin, you get punished. You get punished with depression, you get punished with, diseases, and you get punished with death. If all else fails, you'll be punished with death. That's just how life works. Be careful in this world and become a better person. The scientists that you run to for help cannot stop God's will, cannot go against God's will. If you don't change yourself, you think, you can sin all day. And hey, you can just beg these scientists to give you drugs that'll heal you. You're wrong. If God doesn't want you to heal, you will never heal. If God doesn't want you, to overcome your depression, you will never overcome your depression. You can never escape the punishment from God, ever. You can only beg God for forgiveness, and then God will allow you to seek help that will heal you. Only when God forgives you will you be healed from your problems. Only when God forgives you. If God doesn't forgive you, you have no hope. No doctor can heal you when God doesn't want you to be healed. None. There's no doctor in this world that's more powerful than God. Doctors have their place. The doctor's job is to help others. It is a noble act to help others. But not all doctors are that kind. Some doctors are money hungry and only care about money. So the reason why doctors exist in this world. They have their place, and God knows it. So it's not like God would always go against doctors. It's just that if God truly wants you to be punished, they can't go against it. They just can't. And that's what you need to be aware of. But God is a very forgiving God. This is why doctors are always, capable of healing people. Because God is very forgiving. God is very benevolent. Because God is benevolent, it gives you many chances to turn over a new leaf. Stay away from evil things. Stay away from drugs. Stay away from sin. Stay away from mocking others. Stay away from insulting others. Stay away from lying to others for no reason. Stay away from manipulating others. Stay away from scamming others. Stay away from sin. Stay away from pride. Stay away from envy. Stay away from jealousy. Stay away from gluttony. Stay away from all these evil things in life. Just stay away, and your life will be better. The road towards heaven is filled with happiness. The road towards hell is filled with misery. If your life is miserable, it's because you're heading towards the gates of hell. No matter who you are, whether you're a king or the pope of the world, of the pope of the pope of the church, or you're just a regular, person, salary worker. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're miserable right now, it means God is telling you something. It's telling you you're going towards the gates of hell. There's no happiness in hell. There's no peace in hell. There's no joy in hell. There's no love in hell. If your life is filled with, these things, it means you're going towards hell. Stay away from hell. Be a kinder person to the world. If you're kind to the world will be kind to you. If you're good to the world will be good to you. If you treat the world well, the world will treat you well. Because the world is God. Everything is God. And if you treat God well, God will treat you well. It's just a fact. It's just a fact. So do not think, these scientists will somehow have a perfect pill that will bring heaven to your doorstep. They can't. They just can't. It's a false hope. You're running you're running towards a brick wall. Scientists do not have the brain they don't understand the brain yet, much less the mind. They don't have a full understanding of the brain yet, much less the mind itself. So if you think you can run to a scientist's doorstep, thinking they can somehow, cure you of all your depression and sorrow, you're running towards scammers. Many of these scientists are many of these psychologists, fields are pseudoscience. None of it makes sense when you think about it. Yet, these people make a lot of money from selling you fake pills. Go to where heaven is. Make better choices in life and stop being a sinner. Stop insulting others. Stop mocking others. Stop bullying others. Stop harming others. And stop looking down on yourself. You're a child of God. You have value. Be grateful that you're alive. Be grateful that you are you. A perfect, lovely child of God. God will always be by your side because God is you. Be grateful for that. Be content with the fact that you are who you are. And life will get better. Get a higher self-esteem. Find ways to build your own self-esteem. Find ways to build your self-worth. Find ways to be content with who you are. That's where heaven lies. Heaven lies where you start to accept yourself for who you are. You start to accept the world for what it is. A world created by God. A wonderful world created by God. And you are a wonderful person created by God. You're not a worthless trash in this world. You have value. God gave you value because you are God. Everything in this world is God. And God will always have value. You will always have value. You're not worthless. And you never will be. So that's it for today's podcast episode. I'll talk to you guys later.